having a joint account or separate accounts, it's not really as important as having a joint purpose.
Are you happily married, single and searching, or single and not searching? You're in the right space. We're all students of life, and we're here to celebrate and explore the secrets of long-lasting relationships and marriages.
In each episode, we dive deep into topics like communication, family dynamics, parenting, finances, health, and wellness.
Join us on this exciting journey as we create stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling relationships, one episode at a time. Welcome to Life on Stereo. Hello, and welcome to Life on Stereo. We are your host, Judith and
Kingsley. And
we are excited to have you here once again. Thank you for joining us on this in this space. Like we always say, that we are excited to build this community together with you. So feel free, share with your friends and family, and let's make this community bigger and better.
Yes.
We are excited. First of all, can we all see what is happening here? We have decided to switch things around, move things around a little bit, and change our set. Yeah, because we were shooting in our little studio, and we think this is more comfortable. So let us know what you think about our new set for Life on Stereo. Hey, this is how life goes. You know, things happen. You have to move things around, switch things around.
Yes.
If it's not working for you, you know, make adjustments, make amendments, and let it work for you. So we think this is working for us.
Yeah, I think so. So far, it's looking, feels a bit more relaxed than sitting behind the table. And so here we can just have a chat and then
chat it away.
Pour it all out.
Chat it away.
All right.
Okay, so we are just going to delve in. Today we are talking money matters.
Finances.
And we're talking about finances today. And you know, one father of mine told me that friends can be good for a long time, but sometimes when the issue of money and finances crosses that, you know, threshold and that space, it can get a little bit tricky. And I think I do agree with him. So money is important, and sometimes from our culture that we come from specifically, sometimes it is uncomfortable to talk about money, but we want to make it the norm. There is no discomfort when it comes to talking about money, especially with close relationship.
Exactly.
Because you don't want to step on toes, you don't want to offend someone. But hey, that is why we're here. Let's talk money. Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to talk about money today, and we are going to talk about budgeting. We're going to talk about financial goals, managing your debt. Very important. If you don't have any debt, good for you. But for those of you who also have debt, we also will go and touch on that. We'll talk about investment strategies for you, for us, for couples, for singles, and overcoming financial disagreement. Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to money, I think that the very first thing I want us to talk about is mindset when it comes to money. Mindset. What do you think are people's mindset when it comes to money? Because I think that mindset shapes and influences the way you do things and the way you approach things. So I think that it's a great place to start this conversation and talk about mindset.
Yeah, I personally, I think that for most people, we feel that money or finances is a personal thing. So if you come from a culture where no one wants to let you know how much they make in terms of salary,
True.
and it can even get to the
True.
extent where even when someone buys something at a certain price, a car or a house, they don't want anyone to know how much it costs because they feel it's more of a privacy issue and so on. And so that kind of mindset, while we are single, starts to creep in when we get married or when we get into a relationship. And that's what I've realized. And it wouldn't be strange if you're going through the same thing because most people start from there. And then you have to work on it to sort of break free of that and know that since we are together, then our finances are together as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one thing we need to work on before we even get started.
So you're already touching on transparency when it comes to marriage, but we will get there. But I think another mentality that people have or mindset people have is money equals value. Money equals worth, self-worth.
Right.
And so people on the one extreme, people can value you as a person based on how much you earn, you know, how much you spend and all that. And that can be very exhausting sometimes because then in one way it drives the individual to go for money no matter what. Because if you're saying how much I earn is how much I'm worth, if I earn this amount, I'm here. If I earn this amount, I'm here. So equating your worth to money such that when you don't have money, you feel that you don't value and appreciate you as a person, and others do not appreciate you as a person. Sometimes there are places, circles, spaces, cultural spaces, even, you know, families, you know, that will not call an individual into a conversation, you know, that has to do with the family's welfare and progress, just because this person doesn't earn a certain amount of money.
But that's quite interesting because now and this, you know, the negative effect this has is when we have this kind of mindset that, you know, how much money I earn or how much money is in my pocket or bank account is what actually determines my worth. Then even in a relationship, even in a marriage, I don't want to let you know when I'm quote unquote broke or you know, short on funds. It may be that I have, and I mean I have experienced this personally. It may be that I've used all the money for certain things that we both plan for. But I may have over, you know, stretched a bit because maybe we plan to do a certain thing or project in 2 months, and then I wanted to squeeze and have it done in a month, right? And by doing that, I'm a bit short on funds. And because of, if I still have that mentality that the money, what I have in my pocket is actually what determines my worth, then it's difficult for me to actually come and let you know that, look, this is, I overused, you know, or I overspent a bit. So because of that, I'm a little short on funds. And this is one thing that sometimes knowingly or unknowingly can be in your mind, and you don't really know that it's there, but it is really there. So I mean, while we are talking, if you're listening to us, you could start to, you know, think about how you approach some of these things and how you think of some of these things, and see if it's a place where you are now.
Just to say one thing, I will go back to like for instance, in a relationship where one person is not able to tell the other that maybe I'm short on funds because the person feels that it will make him or her look less in the other person's eyes. But then also, I hope I don't forget that, you know, like money is it's just a commodity. Right? It's just a commodity. So I hope that we can transform our minds when it comes to money. It's transactional. And so I feel that when you emphasize so much on money, which is important, and that is why we are talking about it, but when you emphasize and hinge your relationship and your worth on money, then, when trends go down, your relationship is going down. When trends go up, your relationship. And then another thing, there are, sometimes, unfortunately, because when the person hinges his value on money and is not able to communicate with his or her partner about it, then some of them tend to, maybe we are incurring debt and he or she is not talking about it.
Well, that's a
You're
problem.
like, okay, oh, we have this money, so I think that we have this amount of money. Oh, I think that we have this in stock. And you are not able to communicate with your spouse or the person you're in a relationship with, or even as parents, we are not able to tell our kids that, hey, this is great, this is good, this you want to do is good. However, we have a plan in place, we have a budget, and we have to go according to it. And sometimes, whether it's the partner or the kids, they don't know what is going on in your finances and in your pocket. So they're like spending, and you are going bankrupt. So open conversations when it comes to finances, we are all for that. It. Right. So I just want to jump up off and say, what are the ways we can manage finances? Okay, so somebody says, okay, I hear you, Judith and Kinsley. I want to talk about finances with my partner. I want to talk about finances with my children or whoever, or even myself. What do I do? Where do I go? Or what step do I take? I want us to talk about budgeting. Like, how can people, couples especially, budget their money, and then, how can they do that? Are there any tips you have, or any things you want to say about that?
First of all, I feel budgeting is in a relationship, it should be done by both of you. There are circumstances where I know there might be one person who is more finance savvy or more organized, and because of that, there may be the situation where you go like, you know what, I think you're good with planning these sort of things. I leave it all to you. Budget, let's go along with it. I think it has to be done by both persons, because I have heard stories where the couple or the people in a relationship, they budget, they decide to use a certain amount of money for, and this is in a situation where there's a joint account, right? Decide to use a certain amount of money for something, and by the time you see, because the other person was not involved, they just go around in town and impulse buy something. They start spending the money, and that will sort of lead them into some sort of deficit because they didn't plan to do that. And so that's why it's important to do it together.
So not to cut you short, but then, so are you saying that the first step, even when it comes to budgeting, is having goals? Financial goals. You need to know what you want to do with your money.
Exactly.
And I think that it's important to know what to do with your money, even when you don't have the money yet.
That is true.
Because sometimes you're like, oh, let me get the money and then I will know what to do. Wrong.
It's quite weird how fast money goes when it comes in. Right? Let's be real here, guys. It's I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't really matter how much you earn. You may earn a lot of money, but the expenses are also there. So if you don't plan or budget ahead to face the money, I've been in situations where I'm like, oh, okay, I need to do this. The money will come. Okay, I think the money can take care of the stuff I want to do, and I didn't really write them down. And by the time I realized, oops.
Oops.
It doesn't feel like it's
money doesn't respond to oops.
Exactly. So first step in budgeting, have goals. Say, okay, this is what we want to do. There are some expenses that we can't do anything about. There are things that for sure there's nothing we can do about.
Like what?
Like we need to eat food. we need to pay utilities. If you're living in a rented place, you need to pay rent. If it's your own house and you have a mortgage, you need to pay that. So rent, utilities, food, stuff like this. These are like fixed expenditures for the month. So you have your fixed expenditure, you put them down, you know that, okay, that's it. Now the goal is, okay, sometimes in a certain situation, it's our goal to pay off our debt. If you have in certain jurisdictions where student loans are very common, if the husband and wife, both or one person has student loan. Now, mind you, you're together now, so don't leave the other person to just take care of their student loan.
So you're sharing the debt?
Yes.
No. Yeah. So okay, so this is in the context of marriage, right?
Yeah.
So your debt is my debt.
Certainly.
Are you talking about the debt that you had or incurred before you came into the marriage, or the debt that you're incurring whilst we're married?
Yeah, because look, it's hard to swallow, but this is it. The healthy way to go about it is before you get married to anyone, everyone needs to disclose their debt. So
say that again for those in the back.
So if you have I don't know, X amount of debt from student loans or whatever kind of loans you have, you need to disclose it, because the moment we get married, our finances are intertwined, right? And in that case, we need to both plan, okay, how are we going to spend, or how are we going to pay off our debt? It's no longer your debt or my debt. And that's very important. So that you don't leave someone with all the burden. But because by the time you know, now the danger is that you don't, you leave the person to pay off their debt because you say it's your debt, right? Then they start to, so then you have different sort of targets or aims, or because maybe the other person might want to pay it off a lot quicker. And because of that, you may not be able to do some, you may not be able to achieve certain goals that you set together. So if we are doing it together, we might as well pay our debt together. And by saying pay the debt together, because at the end of the day, when the money comes in, whatever income comes from your side, whatever income comes from my side, it's good to know that this is what we have. If you make 2, I make 2, we bring it together, we have 4. And then we spend, say, 2 on fixed expenses and all that. So we have 2 left. Maybe we can use 1 to pay off debt, and then the remaining 1 we save and invest. So that's a joint, and I'm using 2 and 2 now. It may be that the woman has more income coming in. It may be that the man has more income coming in, right? So this is the approach. We have to have the goals set before us. Then we actually go into the numbers, right? Because now we have the goals. Our target is, a couple will say, okay, we don't have any debt. Our target is we want to invest as much as we can. And I don't know if we're going to get there later or we take it right now. We will talk
about investment strategies and, tips. But before we go there, because you did say, okay, so you have 2, I have 2, we bring it together. Let's talk about the bringing it together.
Right.
I feel that is another, I don't want to use the word sensitive because we are all about open conversations and all that, but so we are saying full disclosure.
Yes.
Full disclosure on your financial situation before you get married. And I would dare say that a lot of us do not do that. Frankly, we didn't do that. The only thing we knew that I didn't have debt, you didn't have debt. Right. So that was good. So we didn't sit down to say, okay, let me see your accounts, let me see this, blah, blah, blah. It was after we got married that we did that. And thankfully, we didn't have debt when we got married, right?
Yeah.
But, so we're saying full disclosure. How about when it comes to, because I have had a lot of conversations around account, holding your account. Where do we hold our account? Where do we hold our money? Do we have a joint account, a split account? How?
So well, personally, I feel having a joint account or separate accounts, it's not really as important as having a joint purpose or a goal. Because
like
why?
that.
Because when you so a couple might have a joint account. Your salary comes in, my salary comes in.
Yeah.
But my goal is a bit different. The moment you check the account, well, we both have this like cards to the account.
Yeah.
By the time you see the money is finished. By the time you see your wife has gone on a nice shopping spree, your husband has gone buying new gear and gadgets and stuff like that.
Those who like
Yeah,
gear.
exactly. Those of us who like gear, right?
Which is expensive.
Exactly. I mean, I always say that the woman can go shopping, buy everything she wants. The moment I buy one gadget,
oh my word!
it's way expensive than all of that, right?
Oh, I'm going shopping. Let's buy this club. Blah, blah, blah. Like I can have bags, which I don't do, but let's say so the woman goes to have bags. And then you go and buy one item.
Yeah.
And it covers like a year of shopping.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's important.
So you can have a joint account, but the spending will be just frivolous on one person's.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, well, if you have a joint account, perfect. The most important thing for me is to disclose how much you have coming in, how much you're earning, how much I'm earning.
Yeah.
So both of us need to know exactly what the total income is. So don't tell me you earned 9 when you earn 10, right? So that we all know exactly what we are earning. And then when we put that together into a joint account, then we take what's coming out in utilities and so on, and then we take what we are going to spend on other stuff. And the issue with a lot of people is maybe I might want to do stuff for myself and so on. Well, it can happen in both situations, in a joint account situation or in a separate account situation. Because in a joint account situation, you both have cards, you can both buy stuff you like and so on. So that's one model, right? And the other model is, let's have separate accounts. You have your account, I have my account. What then could be done is, it's very easy to create another account. One of you can create another account. And it doesn't have to be in both your names. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. So maybe there's a third model. So the second model could be, you have your account, I have my account. We create an account where we both have access. It doesn't matter whose name it is in.
Right.
We both have access, by meaning we both have cards to the account. And then in that account, we agree that every month, this amount comes from you into the general pool. An amount comes from me into the general pool. And that we used to take care of expenses.
And such.
Exactly. And then you can say, okay, then whatever is left, we also invest this amount from you, this amount from me. And of course, the rest is left for your own personal stuff. If you need to help someone or, be generous or help family and so on. Right. So that's another model that you can look at. And this, I actually watched a show, and the strategy they used was really cool, because they were like, if you earn twice what I earn, then it's only fair that you contribute twice than I contribute into the general pool.
Right.
So if I earn 500 and you earn 1,000, and we need to contribute 300 for family expenses, then since you earn twice than I do, you contribute 200 and I contribute 100. And that's how you can, so it's not equality, it's rather equity.
Equity.
Right? So, so for me, I feel like joint accounts, because I have been to like marriage seminars where they go like, you need to have a joint account. Like, you can have joint accounts and still have financial issues and always be arguing about money.
Yeah.
And you can have separate accounts and be fine, because everyone knows what's coming in, what's going out, and so on. I know some people want to have joint accounts so they know what their spouse is spending their money on. right? But truth of the matter is, like, if someone wants to really hide something, you don't think that you're putting measures in place to really stop them from doing anything they shouldn't do.
Yeah. So you're saying, hey, let's not stumble and rumble and, tumble over this issue about joint account or not. The most important thing is we have joint vision, joint purpose, joint goal, joint direction. Yes. So going back to the budget. Now you talked about investing strategies, right? So we need to be, have one page and know exactly what we want to do with our money and all that. So debt, we are sorting it out. Fixed expenses, we are sorting it out. And then now let's talk about, okay, so we have some extra money left. What do we do with it?
Yeah. So people have different goals, right? For some people, the most important thing for them is by the time we retire, we should have a home of our own. So if you live in the West, you live because mortgage is not so common back home in Africa. But if you live in the West, if you have a house, you have mortgage on that.
Yeah.
For some people, the main goal will be whatever we have left, let's push it into the house, pay off our house as soon as possible, and know that we completely own the house, right? So that's one strategy. Another strategy for some people is to try and invest into retirement, right? So by that, you have in the US, every country has like different Roth IRAs, 401k, and so on. So you have the general, like here, there's a general pension that comes from the government. So that everyone has. But then it's a smart move to actually also start investing into some. For me, I mean, personally, I don't like the pension kind of savings where you put in money yourself somewhere where you can't touch until you are 60 or 65. I prefer to do like investments myself, not very high risk, moderate risk investments, not buying single stocks. I'll prefer to do something like index funds, ETFs, and so on. Those ones have some level of diversification. So not to get too technical, but those ones have a little bit of buffer. So it's not going to go down just like that, right? Because of the way they are set up. So you try to invest the rest in something like that. And sometimes some people go the rule of the thumb of investing at least 15% of your income at the end of the month.
Right.
So 15%, not 15% of what is left.
Yeah. Wow. So it comes in.
Yeah. So you invest 15%. So that means that if you earn 1,000 of whatever currency, you need to invest 150. At least that's the minimum, right? So if you are investing at least 15%, then you know that you're on a good path. In a situation where sometimes like both husband and wife or both of you earn a really good income, by all means you can invest 30%, 40%. You take your fixed expenses out, you leave a little bit of money for like emergency, and then the rest can go into investments and savings, because you never know what happens tomorrow.
Yeah. I want, like, on that note, I want us to talk about like financial like hiccups in unexpected things, and how it can put a strain on relationships and all that. But first of all, like, to round up the discussion on like investment, I think you should have a separate pod, even though we do this together. I think you should have a separate episode where, because you are interested in that and financial literacy and all that. I think you should have a separate pod where you're just talking about like
that.
how
Going into detail.
Going like really breaking it down. And let us know in the comments if you would like him to do that. I think that would be really helpful. Yeah. Okay. So now someone is saying, okay, I want to start investing like you're saying, but I have so much debt. You know, we listen to, I don't want to mention the name because I don't want to cause trouble. There are lots of financial, gurus out there and teachers out there. And then some of them have the philosophy that if you have debt, don't even venture into any kind of, well, apart from mortgage, what I call life, like if you have mortgage on your house, apart from that, if you have any other kind of debt, then make sure you are eating rice and beans until you clear that debt before you venture into any kind of investment. So someone is saying, Kingsley, I really want to invest, but I have so much debt. I need to clear this debt. And then someone is also saying that, because just to wrap up on that, someone is saying, I have waited so long. Now I'm kind of old. So is it even worth it to invest? Just a few minutes on that, then we can go.
Yeah. So the logic behind paying your debts first is that you start saving or investing, and let's say the interest rate, you're getting an interest of 12%, 15%. That's moderately high as well, unless you are going for really high risk ones where you could earn a bit more. But let's say you're getting 15%, and then you have credit card debts which come in at 20 to 25%. Now, if at the end of every month, the credit card debt is accruing interest, right? On the 25%, obviously, is per year. So if you divide that into 12, let's say it's 24%. So you divide it into 12, it's going to be 2% interest on it every month, right? And then you, instead of paying that off, you use your money to be investing in somewhere which will earn you an interest of 15%, or let's say 12% per year. So that if we divide by 12, it's 1% interest. So that means the more you do that, the more you lose, because you'll be losing 1% every month. So for mortgages, the reason why it's sometimes it's okay to keep paying your mortgage and still invest, because the mortgage could be sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5%, 6, 7, something like that. So then, if you are in a financial crisis where the mortgage interest rate is really high, then you should probably stop and start trying to reduce your mortgage as well. So you need to weigh it, right? And then and see where to go. But I feel really if after you pay all your fixed expenses, if you have some debts, you look at the interest rate. If the interest rate is quite high, you want to get rid of those high interest earning debts first. And then when you get rid of them and you have some low ones, the low ones, you can tackle them while you invest as well at the same time. And you also talked about like age, right?
Age, yeah.
The truth of the matter is that for investing, and there's the hack that comes with compound interest. It's all about time. So if you are in your 30s like me and you want to start, it's really good. But if you are in your 20s, you are really
super.
Yeah, like because
golden.
One day maybe I'll just do an example. Maybe in the one where I go a bit in depth, do an example on my phone and take some shots and put on the screen for you to see. Because if I start investing, $200 every month till I go on retirement, like, and this is retirement in terms of the government age, let's say 60 years. So that means I save $200 for 30 years. Now, someone who saves $200 for 40 years is crazy, because, and the difference is not just the difference of 10 years. It's quite exponential. And you can only see this when we demonstrate. So this is why we have to start quite early. Nonetheless, it's not too late. If you are like in your 40s or your 50s, just get started right away. I just feel like regardless of where you are, there's nothing, you can't get the past back, but you can only work hard to, take care of the future.
And like, just to add to that, maybe you're older, but maybe now that you're older, hopefully you are even wiser and you know how to budget even better to save up more money to invest. You know, when you're young, you want to have fun, you want to, visit places and all that. But now that maybe you're older, you want to cut back on certain things and be able to, withhold some, pleasure, and then go invest and go hard on investment as well. So that could be a plus.
Being an older person could also have certain advantages. Like, for example, if all your kids have left home,
hey, hallelujah,
then you can put like huge sums of money into the savings every month. So your hopefully your expenditure is quite relatively lower than some of us who have like little kids.
Yeah.
So there's like
Say that again.
the next 18 years or so of
we're in it,
spending monthly on that. So
in it. Okay, great. Now I want us to talk about the hiccups that can arise surrounding money with couples and relationships, and all that. What are some of the probable challenges when it comes to finances and how it can put a strain on relationships, and how do we think we can work around it? One, I would want to start that off with bringing when it comes to children and parents. We have seen the last time we were watching, a son of like a celebrity or like a famous person who we all know has money, has wealth and all that. And this son, who is also old in, older than 20 years, and he's even like, I think late 20s, and he's demanding things from the father, acting entitled to the father's money and wealth. And it has put a strain on their relationship because the father insists that he's an adult, he's an adult and has to work for his own money to take care of himself. And, some people people have split opinions when it comes to that. So I think when it comes to children and parents, sometimes we see a strain when it comes to money issues. And do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's for something like that. I just feel like the parents have to be on the same page, and it also has to do with how the kind of mindsets that the kids grow up with. So if there's a lot of money and they grow up with the thought that I'll always have my father's money or my mom's money, that can be a problem. So when that gets like really into their head, and then later on you're trying to say you're on your own, you're old enough and so on, then it becomes like there's some frictions there. I was going to talk about another, another hiccup that, and I have seen this. And guys, let's say this, like apart from infidelity, finances is like the number 2 cause of divorce statistically. So if we sort of live in denial that finances is not a big deal, what is money and so on, then that will be doing ourselves a disservice. So that's why we need to talk about these things. There are situations, or there are people that I've heard, especially those living in the diaspora. We come from Africa, someone living in the US, UK, and they've been living here, really struggling for a long time. And by the time they realized maybe the wife has built a house back in Ghana or Nigeria.
Surprise!
And the husband knew nothing about that. Or vice versa. By the time they realize the husband has built a house somewhere. So that explains why all these years you always don't have money.
Always don't have money.
And that's a problem.
You're squeezing.
Because you're undertaking a project on your own.
Yeah.
And that's not right, because you are living together. Because you say you don't have money, the other person has to make sacrifices, probably take a second job just to keep the house running, only for you to do something like that. So these things can be a problem. And trust, we need to have relationships built on trust. That I'm not going to go on the side and do stuff like that. See, I need to, at the same time, I need to also be able to trust you. Like, I trust you that you have money in your account.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have friends you help, you sort out $100 here, $50 here, and so on, right? I don't expect you to ask for my permission to help people out, right? And so, like, because if that's why, so another hiccup is when we feel like you should tell me everything, or I should tell you everything. Of course, we need to be reasonable and know that if it's a substantial amount of money you are taking out of our funds to help someone, that we should discuss it. But if it's like, small amounts of money, using that to help here and there, I should trust you that you can make those decisions and know that,
make them wisely.
Yeah, exactly. Know that it's fine to do that. So I feel like these are some of the things.
So that's great. The first point that we talked about like when it comes to parents and relationships. So I think that it is good to start educating our kids right from a young age, when they can understand age appropriate financial education.
That's really important.
To let them understand, and I feel that is the way we can help them shape a positive mindset and have a positive relationship with money, not attach their value with money, and also value what they do with money, and know that they can they can expect to handle. We can expect that they will be responsible when it comes to handling their money when they grow up. Okay, to wrap up today's episode,
it's been an interesting one.
I hope that you guys have learned a lot, because we have even having this discussion every time when we have our discussions. We, like we said, we are not experts or anything, but we're just sharing life together with you, being real here, and then having open and honest conversation. So I hope that you have taken something away from today's episode. Let us know in the comment section what your thoughts are on all that we have said today. And if you want to, follow us on all our social media handles, on Instagram, TikTok,
everywhere.
Life on Stereo podcast. And if you want to say something regarding any of the episodes that we've had, you can just say #Life on Stereo podcast and leave us a comment there. Okay. Awesome. Have anything to say before we sign out?
No, I mean, let's, if we are not in the habit of making budgets and planning our finances, let's get out there. Let's have a seat. There are so many free budgeting softwares out there, like $1.com.
Can you link a few in the description?
Yeah, I definitely do that. And let's sit down. Let's have a discussion. Let's have goals for the year. What we want to achieve financially for the year.
Yeah.
This year we want to pay off this debt. We want to save this amount. We want to do this. So when we start having New Year resolutions and those things, finances should be
money.
It should be a very important part of it, right? So let's take it really seriously, and I think we become more fulfilled when we're able to achieve financial goals, and that also takes some strain off the relationship as well.
It does. It does.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful discussion. Thank you guys for staying tuned, and definitely see you in the next
episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Life on Stereo. We hope you found our conversation insightful and inspiring.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, share, or leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us.
Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. See you in the next episode.